17 years ago, Jesse, I set out on a research project. It was like a real estate science project that I never, ever, I did not plan on going on this science project because 19 and a half years ago, I didn't even know I'd be a real estate agent.
And I mean, like,
I set out on this project, which I could only describe as being more committed and curious and obsessed with understanding why some homes sell quickly and for lots of money, or at least what we call top dollar, and some homes languish for months and bafflingly even years. I don't know if you knew, and I don't know if our listeners knew, that Michael Jordan just sold his home, his mansion. He spent $50 million building this thing. And very fascinatingly, it only took him 12 years on the market. 12 years, that's 4,500 days. 12 years on the market. He spent $50 million building this home. And you ready for the crazy part? He sold it for, drum roll please, as our listeners, if you're listening driving this morning to the Real Estate Morning Drive, I want you to think about, he spent $50 million. And by the way, I was going to say Jesse's headset doesn't sound like it's working, but I saw you guys. You want to know what Jordan sold this $50 million mansion for? $9.5 million.
Oh.
17 years ago, I started on this research project, literally an obsession with why do some homes sell and why do some stay on the market for months and years, including Jordan's that stayed on for 12 years.
Wow.
Guys, welcome to the Real Estate Morning Drive show. And this is our listing refresh 2025 launch. It is 2025. Yesterday, across southern Utah, and I didn't even get into northern Utah, but across southern Utah, 125 homeowners woke up. It was New Year's Day, and then that's great. I mean, New Year's Day is a fun time. It's a lovely time. And they either stayed up late or they didn't. Jesse, you did not.
I did not. I can't tell you the last time I stayed up till midnight.
I stayed up till, I went to sleep at 2:40 a.m.
I'm an early guy.
And I was up researching this. Just kidding. I wasn't talking about real estate at all.
You had a house full.
As a matter of fact, I had a bunch of family and a few friends at my home and did kind of a little thing here with So Fun. Had my brother in from North Carolina, which is super rare. But I try not to talk real estate at these events. But 125 homeowners. I pulled 125, by the way, in my own thing, and I saw you pulled 121.
Yeah.
125. And I think...
Well, it's because you went to the next day too.
And here's what I think. I think people want to know. Let's share this. Can we share this, Blake and Mal? Guys, show's brought to you by our friends at Blueform Media. Blake and Mallory are here I said Mallory. Can you believe it, Mal? It's a great name. They're in the studio, Larkin Group headquarters. That's how we pull a live broadcast that is, brace yourselves, live on Facebook, being recorded to go to YouTube in perpetuity. Yeah. And this thing is,
live on the radio.
We're live on the radio. Yeah. So we're literally live. If you don't want to listen or watch on the feed, on the Facebook feed, you can always catch us at 92.5 FM or streaming this on kdxuradio.com. So I think people want to know. 125 homeowners wake up yesterday, and guess what they find out, Jesse?
Their home is no longer on the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Jordan, but they've been on the market typically 6 to 12 months, some of them more, and their home's unsold. And now the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
And the phone's ringing, and it's realtors saying what?
Hey, hire me.
Yeah, I have the answer.
I can do it.
Yeah, and...
I'm the best.
Yeah, I'm the best. What you needed was me, and
yep.
I understand this dialogue because I have literally spoken with hundreds. I'm going to guess, Jesse, I've actually spoken with thousands of homeowners about this topic.
I would bet, because you did it at a high level for a long time.
Yeah, well, in this obsession, this little science project I went on, and we're going to share with you guys there's a bonus 10th that I don't even have in our report. We're going to actually share our listing refresh blueprint, which is going to walk you through the actual 9, and we're going to rattle them off before we get off the show today, guys, between now and 9 a.m. We're going to walk you through the 9 key elements with a bonus 10th that have to be in place for you to sell your home. And if one of them is out of whack, I promise you, guys, I promise you're either going to, one of two things is going to happen. Either, Jesse, the home won't sell at all, or it will sell for what?
Less
money, or take too long.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, which is a form of less, right? The longer you're on the market, historically, the less money you'll get.
Sure.
Because buyers, and this is true at any price point, buyers automatically think, oh, what's wrong with the house?
Yeah.
I would dare say even at a $5 million price point.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder what's wrong with this house. It's been on the market for, 6 months.
Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I've been watching, look, I purchased, in the last 3 years, I've purchased 2 homes. Okay. And I've been studying the Northern Utah real estate market. I'm always watching. Well, I'm anybody seen Monsters, Inc.? Always watching, Roz says. That thing is just heavy enough that it wants to fall on me. There we go. I watched this. You're good. I solved it. I watched these markets, guys. And the second I see a home that's been 90 days or more on the market, this is, guys, as a real estate professional and a buyer, what is the first thing that goes through my mind? I wonder if, what, Jesse? I wonder if what? Once I
could get a better deal.
Bingo. I wonder if I could get a deal.
The seller's got to be getting nervous.
Let's see. Well,
they've got to be motivated by now.
Absolutely. Whose home came off the market? You go, well, this must be one specific price point. It's probably, Jesse, only homes by like this one in Washington Fields at 4.9 million, and this one in Stone Cliff at 3.8 million, and this one on Chaco Trail in Entrada that's 3.5 million, or maybe this one in Westgate Hills up in Green Spring that's 3.3 million, or maybe Caribbean Circle, which is actually Bloomington of all places. People didn't know there were $3 million homes out there, or maybe another one in Stone Cliff, or maybe in Sand Cove, or maybe this vacation rental out at Desert Color at $2 million. Maybe it's only those. Nope. Well, should we find out if it's only one price point of the 125 homeowners that woke up and their phone rang off the hook and people said, I have the solution? How about a $75,000 trailer in Vail? How about a $295,000 condo at Eagle Point Ski Resort? How about a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, little tiny kind of a patio home on Telegraph in Washington City? Jesse, Parowan. Did listings expire in Parowan? Cedar City?
Hurricane?
Bryan Head?
Downtown St. George?
What about downtown St. George? Valley View Drive, a $425,000 home? Do you see what's happening here? So it's kind of interesting because the plight of these sellers is like this. I put my home on the market 6 months ago, and the thought never crossed my mind. And if you're a homeowner and this show is for you if your home isn't selling, and it's for you if it isn't selling and it's actively listed. We're not soliciting the listing. It's simply this topic is for you, right? If you're actively on the market and your home isn't selling, this is for you. If you've had your home on the market in the last year and it didn't sell, this is for you. And the plight looks like this. I put my home on the market. I hire an agent. Jesse, emotion and positivity and hope. Positivity in a real estate transaction are highest at 2 points when you sell your home. When you list your home, where are they?
Yeah, at the very beginning when you list it and when you close.
When you close it. In between is what we call the valley of the shadow.
It's all over the board.
Right? And emotions are high, and you put your home on the market, and you've watched HGTV. Even if you don't watch HGTV, like, this is kind of fun. I'm going to ask our folks at Blue Form, who are just in the background. Guys, how does TV, what is the culture around real estate? When they put anything on TV about someone selling their home or they hold an open house, they portray what kind of scenario? That it's going to be a ghost town, or that there's like a parade of buyers? Yeah, the most dramatic. It's totally dramatic. There's a parade of buyers. Yeah. Most dramatic. Yeah, high or low. And they've portrayed this thing where they're like, oh, well, we watched an HGTV and they had the open house on Saturday and people lined up down the block.
They had a dozen people just waiting at the door.
Listen, friends, I have personally, this is so great. And this has been a context that I am so grateful for. In the last 3 years, I purchased 2 homes and I sold 2 homes. Me, as a consumer in Washington County, as a realtor, as a consumer, personal homes. What a gift, right? Mm-hmm. And when you put your home in the market, Jesse, you don't think for a minute that in 6 months what's going to happen. Like for a second, you don't think in 6 months that what?
That your home won't sell.
Yeah,
You
correct.
think it's going to sell.
So
You're positive it's going to sell
yeah, and you expect that it'll sell how quickly?
immediately.
Yeah, it's gonna sell in the next 30 days. Okay.
Yep.
So we have homes from Parowan to Bryan Head to Eagle Point Ski Resort to Desert Color to Sun River to downtown St. George, downtown Washington, Ivins, Entrada, Stonecliff, here in Topeka, Kansas. And I promise you guys, this runs all the way up to Richfield. This runs up to Beaver, Fillmore. I was assessing last night, analyzing Salt Lake, Ogden, Provo, Park City. There were 125 in Washington County. There were probably 700 between here and Salt Lake City that didn't sell. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then the agents call. Okay. And the questions that you might be having as a seller are like this. Where were you when my home was on the market?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Is this fair? Where were you when my home was on the market?
A big one is, did you show my home?
Did you show my home?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do differently to sell my home? Right. Have you sold homes in my neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, yep.
Right.
How many homes have you sold at this price range?
Yeah.
If it's a higher end listing.
What's your commission? And it's interesting. I want to be soft with my words. When you ask the wrong questions, you get the wrong answers. And this is, if you wanted to grab something from our episode today, Jeremy Larkin here, of course, with Jesse Paul, the Larkin Group, and licensed with KW Realty. If you want to get one lesson for life, because I hope there's always something for everybody. When you ask the wrong questions, you get the wrong answers. These questions, the interesting thing is the questions aren't dumb. They're not illogical. They're just the wrong question.
But they're defensive.
Correct. Well, they're not the right question.
Right.
Will any of these questions cause their home to sell?
No.
Will it rewrite history?
No.
Okay. Jesse, let's walk through it. In my research, 17 years, I got into this. How I got into this was completely accidental. I went to a seminar. There was a guy named Tom Ferry. I was a brand new realtor or realtor, as people say, 19 and a half years ago. And I went to a big conference as a newly licensed agent, and I went back to the same conference a year later. And about 2 years into this, 17 years ago, do you guys know I was 32 years old? I should have brought this in. I have a magnet on my fridge, which is a kitchen measures equivalent, Blake and Mal. I'm 30 years old. I'm in a suit. I have a full head of hair.
Yeah,
I'm 49. And I put it back up this weekend, and all of my family and friends came in, and they're like, oh my gosh, where did you get this? I found it in a box.
That's funny.
I'm a newly licensed agent. And at the seminar, they talked about this thing called expired listings. And if your home didn't sell, you've now become a statistic, unfortunately, right? You have an expired listing.
Your home is expired.
And they said, you can go get a lot of business doing this. But here's what happened. I started making phone calls to these people. But when I started making the phone calls, Jesse, I became more curious about the science of it. I more curious and the art and the why is this happening than almost the selling the homes? Well, in the process, we've probably helped 200-ish families sell homes that other agents did not sell, right? Yep. That failed to sell in the previous. Let's walk through it, guys. There are 9 factors and a key 10th. All right, I'm going to give it to you. Ready, set, go. Number 1, guys, strategic pricing. Jesse, and there's a little parentheses that I'm going to have you share with us. Yeah. Strategic pricing analysis. Define it. It is what?
Pricing as offense versus defense.
Yeah, pricing versus offense versus defense. And by the way,
that can be tricky.
And I'm going to monitor something.
That one can be tricky.
We have 11 minutes.
Okay.
What does offense versus defense mean?
So offensively means that you are in control, right? That you're calling the shot. And that one can be tricky because you can think, oh, well, that means that I need to price it in my favor.
Yeah.
But what it really means is how do we price this home so that the most amount of people want to see it?
And I'm going to add something to this theme. Mm-hmm. The theme of these 9 and bonus 10 elements that you need to have in place, what we call the listing refresh to sell your home, Jesse, is having buyers compete with themselves instead of with who?
The seller.
Correct. See, pricing defensively, Jesse, puts me in a position as a defensive position where I'm competing as a seller with buyers.
The buyer. Well, and it's like, well, I have to save room.
Yeah.
No, actually you don't. Because if you don't save room and you actually become the best
in your price
value,
point, you mean?
Yeah. Well, room to negotiate.
Yeah.
versus if I actually thought to myself, how do I price this so that buyers are competing with each other? Ironically, I actually end up getting more money than I would if I priced leaving myself room.
Bingo.
Every time I'll get more money by pricing offensively versus defensively.
This is offensive pricing versus defensive. Number 2 is high impact visual marketing, which is, define that, Jesse.
Professional photography.
Well, and
visual marketing. What do consumers want to see in the current market? What are they looking for?
This is key. Current market.
Right.
Current market.
What are the trends?
What are the trends in the current market that cause eyeballs to stick? Number 3 is what we call comprehensive market exposure.
Reaching beyond the local MLS, the multiple listing service, statewide, nationally, and internationally.
Okay. So one of the things that happens, Jesse, is a lot of folks, when they go to list their home, one of the situations I've had, I was working with, it was funny. I was thinking of a couple of clients, the Harringtons and the Bakers, 2 in particular. Both of them had been on the market, and then they went for sale by owner for a period, and then we went into partnership, as in I listed their home, they hired me, but we entered a partnership. And in both cases, we have some fun testimonials, but it was like, thank you. The Bakers in the testimonial they shared said, Jeremy got us out of a jam. What happens is often when people go on the market, they go, well, we'll be on the MLS and Zillow, and that will sell the home.
Yeah.
The issue is that there is a market of buyers that is beyond Zillow and beyond the local MLS, which is why we list properties in the Iron County MLS and the Wasatch Front MLS.
Right.
Guys, right now there are about 13,000 licensed realtors. This will blow your mind. Between Nephi and Brigham City, right? Say, call it Ogden, or call it Logan. But I mean, you go all the way to the border.
Yeah.
13,000 agents. There are about 2,000 in St. George. So comprehensive exposure, Jesse, is going potentially internationally.
Right.
And it's certainly going nationally.
It's going anywhere we could potentially find a buyer that we can get to.
Yep. Number 4 is what we call the real first impression. What is that, Jesse?
The curb appeal.
Exceptional curb appeal. When I sold the 2 homes I sold this year, I sold the one in 24 hours. By the way, these are my personal homes. Let me be clear. This is not as an agent. It was the Miles home down on Main Street, the Samuel and Hannah Miles home. And the other one was the Nest. And that took us a whole 5 days to sell it because we had to sift through 8 offers, and it went 30,000 over asking.
Yeah, it would have sold in 24 hours, but you had a lot of work to do.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how was the curb appeal on those 2 homes? Scale of 1 to 10.
9.5.
Okay. Well, I based on what the homes were, 10. Based on the age of the home, 10. Actually 10. I'm going to push back on him, right?
Well, of course you need to. It's your house.
Well, would you say that getting about 100,000 over the market on the Main Street and 30,000 over my asking price on the other was it 9 or 10?
That's good, yeah.
And here's why I push on this. Your curb appeal is based on your home, because every home in every neighborhood is different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I sold an 1869 and a 1966 built homes, right? That was the year built. 1869 and 1966.
Oh, 100 years difference. I didn't realize that.
So this is what we call the real first impression. And here's what it means. The first impression is online. But sometimes, you guys ever gone to a pizza joint or lunch and the food didn't look quite like the photos that they were advertised? When you show up at the home is the real first impression. That what we do online is the access key to get them there. But if they pull up in front of the house, Jesse, how many times have you been with buyers? You looked at a home, 5 minutes. And they were like, oh, we got to go see this home. The second they pulled up in front of the home, they didn't even stop. They said, keep driving, dude. It looks like crap.
I've had that happen quite a bit.
Okay, yeah. Probably hundreds of times. Okay. Number 5, show-stopping, staging, and presentation. Which does what with a buyer, Jesse? Number 5.
It taps into their emotion. It's the art and science of stirring emotion within the buyer.
Guys,
it helps them feel at home.
Has anyone, Jesse, ever been to a car dealership and they went just looking and they left with a car? millions of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a reason why. Cars are sexy. And when you get in a new car, which new means newer to you, with more bells and whistles than you had previously. Right, guys? I mean, Mal's over there laughing. You're like, hey, listen, it's Costco. Listen, we're only spending $200 a day. You walk out with a 16-person tent. Like, how did we get here? Yeah. I don't know. The tent was badass. Like, I saw it. You know what I mean? Blake's like, I bought an organ. She's like, what do you mean an organ? Like the kind you play like a piano. Just kidding. He didn't buy an organ. But dude, by the way, the 2-person sauna that been selling for $1,900. I was so close on this thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that we got some laughter. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. We need the buyer to get in your home and go, holy crap, if we don't buy it, I don't know if I want to stay married to you, right? Okay, 6, seamless showing accessibility, which is what, Jesse? What does that mean?
Can motivated buyers access your home before they choose another? This is important. How difficult are you with showings? Are you demanding 24 hours? Are you demanding a 2-hour notice? I can't tell you.
And you might need a 2-hour notice, but still.
You might need it, but I can't tell you how many times a buyer will be in front of the house. They call. If they can't see it in the next 45 minutes, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And they're not coming back.
Well, this is actually interesting. Because I say they might need 2-hour notice. This actually goes back to this curb appeal. I'll actually give you the 9.5 because at the end of the day, there's always probably something we can improve.
And that's what I was thinking.
With curb appeal,
You're never going to have a 10.
With access, take your access. It's not like you can be like, look, we just come into my house anytime, just walk in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's got to be some flexibility
before they go to another home.
Yeah, because
Jesse, how fickle are buyers?
They are very fickle.
Oh, guys, at 7% interest rates. Let me tell you something, gang. At 3.5% interest rates, buyers are not very fickle.
I was on the phone with one of our good friends, Rand Lemon, yesterday.
Yeah,
and we were talking about the market, and he said, "Man, this is just interesting." Just interesting. You just never, you cannot,
2 minutes.
You cannot even predict what a buyer's going to do right now.
7% interest rates, people are fickle. Number 7, targeted buyer engagement. And this is accessing something that we have internally, which is our
database. So our database of homeowners, people that could potentially buy a home.
Guys, we have 11,000 people in the database.
Everybody that we've ever connected with.
And we can actually access it, and we do. And we'll say, who in my database searched for a home like this one that I just listed? And then we call and we text and email them. Number 9, that is killer. Yeah. If your agent isn't actually tapping into their existing people to find you a buyer, they're just hoping that the MLS will do it. It won't work. Number 8, proactive agent follow-up. We call it, there's a term for this.
Reverse prospecting. So this is something that I'm really good at. I do quite often.
No one in this town I know is better than Jesse. Jesse will go and he will find every agent who looked on the MLS for a home that is like yours as a seller, and he will call them and say, I have a home that I think you need to see.
I'll email them, I'll call them, and I'll text them.
Number 9, optimal market timing. Are there better days of the week to put a home on the market?
Yes.
Yeah, there are. And without going into it, Jesse, you would think Friday's a great day to put your home on the market before the weekend.
You would, but it's not.
Because it actually doesn't syndicate.
Because it doesn't syndicate until Saturday or Sunday.
Whoops.
It could take up to 24 to 48 hours for it to fully get out there.
Yeah. Listing your home, guys, on Friday is a mistake that a lot of people have no idea that they were making with their agent. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, and this is number 10, it's a bonus. This is nuanced contract negotiations. I'm going to speak to this one really quick in our final minute. This is knowing as an agent when we're negotiating for our sellers, when to use the hammer and when to use the honey. Buyers, again, are fickle at 7% rates. Sometimes we need a hammer and sometimes we need honey when we negotiate. If you want to download this guide, when this show is live on YouTube, you can go ahead and comment with the word refresh. And we're going to use our technology at ManyChat to get that to you. If you're watching the show live on Facebook, go ahead and comment, and we're going to give you this whole list. We'll respond with that. And look, if you want to reach us anytime, we may not respond. 24/7, you can find us on Google or GoSt.George.com.